Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I pay homage to Buddha Dhamma Sangha. I pay homage to Bhadabhante, Guru Bhante, Bhikkhu Sang. I give metta, best wishes, loving kindness to novices and upasaka upasikas. So I welcome again to everyone to this Sunday evening program. Most of you gather every Sunday, and some of you may be new. So we gather every Sunday to chant together, meditate together, and to listen to teachings of the Buddha. So these are the things that we regularly do every single Sunday. Just like we had full moon day, new moon day, Ashtami temple visit traditionally. So likewise, in the modern time, Sunday is the new full moon day, new moon day and Ashtami, because Sundays you are free. You know that, but I still tell you again, so that you, as it is, no, it's a holy day, right? Sunday we call it holy day because on the weekdays we are busy with the life. We end up getting into so many things, so our mind gets a bit confused and sometimes disturbed as well with the things of the world, So it's good and it's important, in fact, to just give yourself this once in a week, Maybe this is one of the things, and maybe you can do something else as well, not necessarily just spiritual, but something that unwinds you, that helps you to calm down and rethink about your own life, your own thinking, and your own practices. So today, like every Sunday, I like to share from one of the sutra. It's called Gopaka Moggallana Sutta. And this Gopaka Moggallana was, he was one of the government or one of the royal maybe executive, and he had some conversation with Venerable Ananda. So Venerable Ananda was the personal attendant of Buddha. He was also the cousin of Buddha, and he spent most of his time together with Buddha, almost like a shadow, for maybe nearly 25 years, more than that, So he is also the storehouse of Dharma. So he listened to every words of Buddha and he had kind of memorized all of that. So this particular teaching happens or given by Anandavante after the passing away of Buddha. Right? So it is not directly given by Buddha, but given by a disciple of Buddha who was close to Buddha. So Venerable Ananda, he was staying in Bamboo Grove in Rajagaha. It is in modern Bihar state. So at that time, very soon after the passing away of Buddha, Buddha passed away around 6th century BC, almost 2,600 years ago. So he just not long very after he passed away, King Ajatasattu, who was the king of Magadha. So as you know, there were 6 major kingdoms in the time of Buddha. So Magadha being one, it was one of the major one apart from Kosala. So he was suspicious of King Pajjota. There was another king called Pajjota. So he was fortifying Rajagaha, the city. Those days you have like the fort city, right? Everything is under the fort. So he was building a bigger fort because he had some kind of report that another king is going to wage a war, right? What's happening now in Iran and everywhere. So nothing new, right? War. So we are sometime little bit taken aback. Oh, there is a war, but it's not new, right? There is always going to be war. In fact, we have war every day, isn't it? You have a war with maybe with your partner, with your boss, with your friend, or everybody, right? There is always a war. It's just that's happening at the state level. This is happening at the individual level. And so he was worried about the war. And the reason I say it's nothing new is because Buddha also did not so much spoke against the war, for war. He knew this is going to be there, and he didn't much bother about it, right? So there's always going to be war. So he was suspicious, and he was building that. So at that time, Venerable Ananda, he was going for his morning alms round, going for food to the city. You may be aware, monks, they would go from house to house for food. In the time of Buddha, even now in many places. So he saw that it was too early to go to the city, Rajagaha city. So he thought, let me go to the Brahmin Gopaka Moggallana. So he was a Brahmin Gopaka Moggallana because some work was going on, the building of this wall. So remember the Trump wall in the Mexico, something like that. So he just thought he will meet him because maybe he knew Moggallana. So he saw Moggallana coming, Ananda Bhante coming, and he said, come, Master Ananda, welcome. Master Ananda, it's long since Master Ananda met an occasion to come here. Sit down, Master Gautama. This seat, Master Ananda, this seat is ready. So that's how they were meeting after quite a long time. And when they were seated, the Brahmin Moggallana said to Venerable Ananda, Master Ananda, is there any single bhikkhu who is possessed in every way, in every part of all those qualities that were possessed by Master Gautama, the accomplished one, the fully enlightened one? So he says that, is there anybody equal to Buddha? That's the question, right? In terms of all the qualities and everything. So he says, no, there is no single Bhikkhu Brahmin who is possessed in every way and in every part of all those qualities that were possessed by the Blessed One. For the Blessed One was the arouser of the unarisen path, the producer of the unproduced path, the declarer of the undeclared path. He was the knower of the path, the finder of the path, the skill in the path, but now the disciple dwell following that path and become possessed of it after him. So there is nobody who is kind of equal to Buddha in terms of the ability or the quality. But at the same time, the very purpose of the teaching to achieve enlightenment is equal, right? In the sense, what Buddha achieved is enlightenment, and all his disciple and follower, they too achieve enlightenment, and that state of enlightenment is same. But it's just that the ability to teach, the ability to kind of bring about change in an individual, that's something which nobody can have like the Buddha. In the sense, Buddha's no other disciple of Buddha. So when they were discussing like that, the Brahmin Vasakara, the chief minister of Magadha, who was inspecting the work at Rajagaha, went to Venerable Ananda. So when they were talking, then the Brahmin Vasakara, he came. He was the one who was building this city Pataliputra, now present-day Patna, the Brahmin Vasakara. So he comes and they had some greetings and everything, and then Master Ananda, we were sitting together in the royal council chamber when this very conversation arose. Now, Master Ananda, is there any single bhikkhu who was designated by Master Gautama thus, he will be your refuge when I am gone, and whom you now rely on? There is no such bhikkhu Brahmin. So, this Vasakara is asking that, is there any one disciple of Buddha who is the next, the head of the, you can say, the head of the Sangha, the Sangha, right? The monastic Sangha, the Buddhist Sangha. Is there anybody? He said, no, there is nobody. After Buddha, there is no one who is the head of the Sangha, or you can say Buddhism, or the monastic community. He said, there is nobody. Then Master Gautama, is there any single bhikkhu who was chosen by the Sangha and designated by a number of elder bhikkhus? Thus, he will be your refuge when the Blessed One is gone, and whom you now rely upon. There is no such bhikkhu Brahmin. So he said, okay, the Buddha didn't choose anyone, but do you have among yourself, by unanimous kind of decision, you choose somebody as the head? Do you have such a monk? He said, no, there is no such monk as well. But if there is no such refuge, Master Gautama, what is the cause of your agreement? Brahmin, we are not without a refuge. We have a refuge, Brahmin. We have the Dhamma as our refuge. So he said, if there is nobody, in the absence of Buddha, because when Buddha was there, Buddha was your guide, your refuge, your protection. But now that the Buddha is not there, and no other, Buddha did not select anyone, chosen anyone, and neither the community of monk chosen anyone, then how do you go about, how things happen, how the agreement happen, how there is harmony, how things happen. So he said, Brahmin, we are not without a refuge. We have a refuge. We have a guide, and that is Dhamma. We have Dhamma, that is the teaching as given by Buddha, as our refuge. So even Buddha also said, before he left, he said, Atta Dhamma Saranang, Atta Saranang, Dhamma Saranang. Dharma is your refuge, is your guide. So in Buddhism, we don't have anybody like a head. This monk is the head, that monk is the head. So we don't have any one singular, central controller, authority kind of thing. We don't have like that, right? So we have the teaching as given by Buddha. It is kept as it is since the time of Buddha. And there is a history how it has been passed down, how it has been classified, how it has been arranged, and who are those who are the custodian and all of that. But no any one controller kind of a person. But Master Gautama, when you are asked, is there a single bhikkhu who was designated Master Gautama, you say no. When you are asked, is there any single bhikkhu who was chosen by the Sangha, you say no. How then should the meaning of this statement be seen? Brahmin, the Blessed One, knows and sees, the accomplished one, the fully enlightened one, has prescribed the training rule for the bhikkhus and suggested the Patimokkha. On the Uposatha day, as many of us live in the independence on single village district, meet together in one place, and when we meet, we ask one who knows the Patimokkha to recite it. While it is being recited, an offense or transgression of a bhikkhu is remembered, we make him deal with it in accordance with the Dhamma, in accordance with the instruction. It is not we who make him deal with it. It is the Dhamma that makes him deal with it. So he's also saying that how do you do that? If you say Dhamma, but how do you do that? So he says the Buddha, the one who knows, who sees, who understands, he given us the Vinaya, Patimokkha. So Vinaya and Patimokkha is the regulations, the rules and regulations of the monk. Right? There are broadly 227 rules, and then there are many other minor and other proceedings. So it's almost like one constitution, like how now we have the constitution that runs the country. So also we have the Vinaya as the constitutional body as laid down by Buddha. So what we do as monk is every full moon day, new moon day, we assemble in a sima, which is something like a court of law, like a high court or supreme court, like that, right? So we have a particular designated, and that has to be done in accordance with certain proceeding. There has to be some minimum 12 monks to consecrate that place, right? And so once it is consecrated, you can recite the rules and regulation every 15 days. That is full moon day, new moon day. And then any kinds of dispute, any kinds of offenses, any kinds of disharmony, any kind of problem comes, it is discussed there. It is solved there. Like what you say in the modern time, let's talk it out. That's what is the Gen Z term, right? Some of you who are Gen Z, like, let's talk it out, So it's like we talk it out every 15 days, right? So we deal with it, but again, in that court of Sima, there is no any one who is deciding it, right? It's not like me deciding once. In fact, not even a senior monk deciding, though we have a seniority, but not. It is the community as a whole decide on all those issues in line with the Dharma as given by Buddha, right? So, because Buddha is somebody who is the embodiment of wisdom, knowledge, conduct, and vision. So he's the ultimate teacher, right? There is not a single flaw in his teaching. So whatever he has given, when we follow, then we are on the right path, when we are on the right track. And so this is how it goes, right? So, okay, then is there Master Ananda, any single bhikkhu whom you know, honor, respect, revere, and venerate, and whom you live in a dependence, honoring and respecting him? So then he says that, is there anybody, whom you honor, respect, revere among yourself? You have some dependency. He says, there is Brahmin. There are 10 qualities that inspire confidence, which have been declared by the Blessed One. We honor, respect, revere, and venerate the one among us in whom these 10 qualities are found. And we live in dependence on him. What are the 10? So even though we don't have like one single authority, but if somebody has a good quality, somebody has this 10 qualities, or among some of these 10 qualities, we respect and we venerate and we depend on that individual for guidance, for teaching, for to guide basically. So he says, yes, there are. The first one is, a bhikkhu is virtuous, it dwells restrained with the restraint of the patimokkha, possessed of good conduct and resort, and seeing fear in the slightest fault, he trains by undertaking the training rules. The first of all, among the 10 qualities, the first of all is somebody who follows the, you can say, the patimokkha or ethical conduct. Somebody who follows the certain conduct. That is and who also see even the minor mistakes. So, as you know, Shila is the ground, right? So, according to Buddha, our conduct is very important. Is first, is basic, right? For monks there are 227. For householder like you, there are 5. Just 5 are there. That is bare minimum. You just have 5, right? We have 227. You just have 5. So not a very difficult one. But, Buddha was practical because he knows, again, as we see, Buddha is someone who knows. Who knows what? Who knows that you as a householder, you cannot take up so many different you can say practices, right? Because you have duties, you have so many other kinds of a commitment. So, but the 5 are very basic, right? That is not to kill, not to steal, not to commit sexual misconduct, not to tell lie, and not to engage in intoxication, right? So these are the only 5 things that you should follow. As a monk, we follow the many rules and regulations that are there. So I'll not go much into detail. There are 10, so I'll just go little quick. Secondly, he is much learned, a retainer of what he has heard, a storehouse of what he has heard. Those teachings that are good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with right meaning and phrasing, which affirm a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. Such teaching as these he has much learned, written in mind, recited verbally, investigated with the mind, and penetrated well by view. So second is learning, right? You can see before learning, there is the conduct, So there is one case of one Brahmin, he wanted to know which is bigger, learning or conduct, So I think he was the advisor to the king. So he wanted to know which is much bigger, superior, your learning or say your conduct, your behavior, your conduct, right? So what he does is he steals some gold coin every day, one gold coin. So the person caught him and he says, it's an advisor of king and all. So every day he takes for almost 10 days, Finally he was caught and he was taken to the king. And then the king said, why did you steal? So why did you steal? And he said, I wanted to know which is much bigger. I am your advisor, I am so much learned, but because now I started stealing, you are putting me behind the bar, you are putting me in prison, right? So, therefore, before learning, our conduct is very important, very, very important. Shilang sayo, sutang sayo, that's what it says, right? Shila means our conduct. So secondly, you have to be so that monk must be much learned, he has to remember what he has learned, and those teaching which are good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. So one of the way to understand what is Buddha's teaching, what is not Buddha's teaching, is that it should be good in the middle, in the beginning, in the middle, in the end. So as you start knowing and practicing Buddha's teaching, it should be good in the beginning itself, right? If it is not good in the beginning, then it is not a Buddha's teaching. And which is pure, which he verbally recited, investigated. So that individual has to learn, remember, and then investigate it. So that is also very important. One of the teaching is that you have to investigate the teaching. You shouldn't just listen, remember, and then just take it, but you have to investigate, and then you have to also understand as well, right? Not just remembering, reciting, but investigating and then understanding by yourself. By yourself. That's what Buddha always says, right? Ehi passiko, come and see. Third one, he is content with robes, alms food, lodging, and medicine, and requisite for use in the sickness. Third quality of a monk who is respectable is somebody who is contented with whatever food, cloth, house, monastery, and medicine he gains. He should be contented. Should not be somebody who's complained, who is dissatisfied, like that. So that is something very important. Contentment is very important practice. So we have to, contentment doesn't again mean that you don't work to get more. It's okay to get more as long as it is in an ethical and legal way. But at the same time, we also have to appreciate whatever we have right now. We have to really, really be grateful for whatever we have right now. That's very important. That gives us kind of peace, happiness. So the monk should be contented. Number 4, he obtains at will, without trouble or difficulty, the 4 jhanas that constitute the higher mind and provides a pleasant abiding here and now. So the 4 jhana or dhyana. So it is 4 jhanas are what we call meditative absorption. So it is like a state of mind which is not enlightenment, but which is a very deep samadhi, what you can call it samadhi, right? It is a deep samadhi where your mind is totally peaceful, no thoughts, and you have a tremendous amount of joy, serenity, rapture, and pleasantness, right? So the monk should have that. It's like you can say it's just like you have entertainment, right? For movie and other thing to kind of feel happy and whatever. For monks, that meditation is the way out. Sometimes people ask, do you have some entertainment, right? So for the monks, this is the kind of, not entertainment, but it's a deep happiness, right? It's not enlightenment, by the way, but it is a deep state of mind, where you're just settled, you're just happy, you're just contented. Just like maybe you're watching a nice movie or being in a mountain or just on a beach, seeing the sunset, something like that, So in the same way, it's a very deep serenity, Of course, it has different level. Initially, there is some kind of excitement. Then there is a peace and equanimity. Okay, then number 5, he wills the manifold psychic power. Having been one, he becomes many. Having been many, he becomes one. He appears and vanishes. He goes under unhindered through walls, enclosure, and mountain, as though through space. He dives in and out of the earth, as though through water. He walks on water without sinking, as though on earth. Seated cross-legged, he travels through space like a winged bird. With his hand, he touches and strokes even the sun and moon. So mighty and powerful, he yields mastery over the body, even as far as the Brahma world. So this is some psychic power, like mentioned. That is a byproduct of meditation, right? Again, this is not a ultimate purpose of Buddhism. Right? Ultimate purpose is enlightenment, but this is some byproduct, and this is also, this kind of shows that you have achieved a good level of meditation, right? Wherein you have this kind of a psychic ability. Number 6, with the divine ear element, which is purified and surpasses the human, he hears both kinds of sound, the heavenly one and the human, those that are far as well as near. So this is divine ear. That is, you have the capacity to hear from the heaven all the way to Brahma world, as far as it can be. You can hear the sound, right? So that is through meditative power. You get that divine ear. Then he understands the mind's, number 7, he understands the mind. Yeah, these are sometimes it is necessary. Like, for example, psychic power. Now, how it is important? You may be thinking why you are talking about it, right? So, what happened in the time of Buddha, when Buddha came to his hometown after 7 years, some of his relatives who were senior to him in terms of age, some are grandfather or other aunt and uncle. So they were all like, oh, he is a Buddha, but he is a junior to me. He's just 35. I am older. I am 65. I'm 70. So the pride of being elder, right? So they were not in a mood to pay respect to Buddha and listen to his teaching. Now that he is a Buddha, he's not a normal human being. He's a Buddha. So they were not listening. So what the Buddha did, he showed some Yamakapatihariya, twin miracle, which is that he goes into the space and then he emits fire from say, let's say, fire from the front part of his body and water from the back part of his body. So also right, left, above, below. So there is a fire and water simultaneously emanating from his body, very far. So then they were like, oh, he's somebody now. So sometime you got to do it, right? You just got to do it. So miracles, like we have a lot of miracles in Jesus' life as well, right? We hear about that. So Buddha uses sometimes miracles not just to, kind of bring people under him, but wherever there is an opportunity for people to understand the Dharma, those who have some wisdom, right? Because Buddha had the ability to read others' mind, and then he could see, oh, this person has some ability to understand the teaching, and thereby he can be released from suffering, because the ultimate goal of Buddhism, Buddha's teaching, is to release from suffering. So this person has the ability, but there is an obstacle. What is the obstacle? Sometime, in this case, pride of being senior, being elderly, right? So Buddha had to do it, right? So likewise, divine ear. Sometimes Buddha uses that as well to help. So these are just tools. These are just tools to help people come out of suffering and understand the teaching. Divine ear. Number 7, he understands the mind of others, having encompassed them with his own mind. He understands a mind affected by lust as affected by lust, and a mind unaffected by lust as unaffected by lust, a mind affected by hate affected by delusion, contracted mind, distracted mind, exalted mind, unexalted mind, surpassed mind, unsurpassed mind, concentrated mind, unconcentrated mind, liberated mind, unliberated mind, as unliberated. So that is parachitta vijnana. That is to understand others' mind, right? So Buddha had that ability. So accordingly, he would teach different people. That's why we have thousands of sutras, thousands of teaching, not just one, thousands of teaching. Why? Because the same teaching Buddha used to convey in a very specialized, what we call in today's word, tailored teaching to different individual. So Buddha had that ability, right? So he will understand whose mind is how, right? So there are many stories and all, but I don't go how Buddha did it, So I don't go here. So number 8, he recollects his manifold past life. That is 1 birth, 2 birth, 100,000 birth, many eons of world contraction, many eons of world expansion, many eons of world contraction and expansion. There I was so named of such a clan, with such an appearance, such was my food, such was my experience of pleasure and pain, such was my life term. So this is Pubbe Nivasanusati, that is to Purve Nivasanusati, that is to recollect the past life. So through the deep meditative experience ability, you can, the Buddha could see his past life, not 1 or 2, but thousands and lakhs and billions, and not only in terms of 1,000 billion, but in terms of aeon, what we call kalpa or kappa, many kalpas, how the world even disintegrate and how it is formed again. So, how this world, we say, right, different yugas on different time, different this thing, right? So he sees all of that and how he was and all of that. So this he did before he was becoming a Buddha, so that he understood how our mind works, how our body works, how our feeling works, and how everything, right? He could see every dimension of human experience, the element, the mind, the body, every single thing he could see. So not only Buddha, but and many other monks who had this ability and to see. And this helps, So number 9, with divine eye. So this is like seeing far thing, just like divine ear. So so one time he even helped Brahma Sahampati, so not Sahampati, sorry, Baka Brahma. There was this Brahma called Baka Brahma. So he thought that he is the creator of the world. He thought he is the creator of the world. He is the controller of the world. Actually, that was not the case, because he was a human being on the bank of Ganges River, and he meditated for a long time as a rishi, as a tapasya rishi. And because of his meditation, he was born as a Brahma. But he was there for a long, long time, very long time. So as a result of that, he thought, oh, I am the creator of the world. I am the controller of the world. Just come to think of it, like as we human being, we just live here hardly 80 years or 90 years. And already we think we are the owner of this world, right? We are the whatever, right, of this. So come to think of a Brahma who lives for maybe billions of years, right? So then Buddha helps him to come out of that misconception, and he teaches him Dharma, because even the Brahma world is not permanent, right? It's just another world with so much of happiness, higher happiness, but it is not permanent. So according to Buddha, you have to go beyond the Brahma, which is what we call Nibbana, which is the freedom from birth and death itself. Number 10, by realizing it for himself and with direct knowledge, he here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom that are taintless through the destruction of taint. Which means somebody who, through the wisdom, has totally destroyed his inner defilements like greed, hatred, ignorance, jealousy, distraction, and all the impurities of the mind is gone forever. Right? So, which is, as I said, ultimate, right? So, somebody who has these qualities, what he says, these Brahmins are the 10 qualities that inspire confidence declared by the Blessed One. So, that's what he says, right? Then he says, but then Vasakara Brahmin, the chief minister of Magadha, he says, General Upananda, what do you think, General? Since these masters honor what should be honored, respect what should be respected, revere what should be revered, and venerate what should be venerated, do they not honor, respect, revere, and venerate what is worthy of it? If they did not honor such a person, then what kind of person would they honor? Then the Brahmin Vasakara said to Venerable Ananda, Master Gotama, where is Master Ananda staying now? I am staying at the bamboo grove, Brahmin. Master Ananda, we must go now. We must have much to do. Please, Brahmin, do as you fit. Then the Brahmin Vasakara, having delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Ananda's words, rose from his seat and departed. So he had this conversation and he says that if somebody has these 10 qualities, then should we not respect and venerate? Oh, yeah, it should be, right? So these are something which are very high spiritual qualities that anybody would venerate. After saying that, Vasakara leaves because he has so many work to do. Soon after he left, the Bhikkhu said to Venerable Ananda, Master Ananda, you did not say whether there is any single Bhikkhu who is possessed in every way, in every part of those qualities that were possessed by Master Gotama. Mendicant, I told the Brahmin, there is no single Bhikkhu Brahmin who is possessed in every way, in every part of all those qualities that were possessed by the Blessed One. For the Blessed One was the arouser of the unarisen path, the producer of the unproduced path. But now the disciple dwell following that path and become possessed of it after him. This is what Venerable Ananda said. The bhikkhus were satisfied. So, this is a glimpse of how the Buddhist or Sangha, the community of monks, how they function as a community, not as one authority, and what are the qualities that there should be. So for us, what we can learn for all of you is that what should be respected, what should be considered is the quality, not the individual, right? So we cannot just rely on individual. Individual can be anybody, right? It can be if an individual is not without a quality, then the authority can go wrong. Somebody has, let's say, a big authority, but that individual is unethical or unkind or jealous or wrong intention, then that individual can be an authority, but things can go wrong, right? So we have to, what we see here is, we have to give the quality more importance than the authority, than, whatever authority that is there. Of course, the authority in the world, now we have our constitution, democratic system and everything, but what we should give importance is the quality. Otherwise, things will go wrong. Sooner or later, things will go wrong. If you just give authority to just power rather than the quality, things can go wrong. So here, what we see is that the quality, the dharma should be given importance, and the qualities of monks, as you see here. But it can be something that can be developed by even the household, even the common people can also follow many of the things that are spoken here, all those qualities, starting with our conduct, our ethical conduct, and meditation, and and other higher kind of practices, other kind of practices. So so this is the one glimpse into how the Sangha works, and something that that you all can take some guidance from this teaching of Buddha, how you should have a certain system, certain values, and that kind of guides your life, your family, your community. So that is what we can learn from today's teaching, right? So with this, I conclude my few words. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.